Hello guys, and welcome back again to another flashlight review. Today I'm going to be looking at this special light from Wuben that they've just released. It's the T4, and those of you who know a little bit about Wuben, you know that they do make a ton of EDC flashlights, and they've been doing that for a while now. But one area that they're not so well known for is tactical lights. And I know some of you out there, such as JTwig, one of my subscribers, really like the Wuben T1, which I've reviewed previously. So impressed with that light, but no one just seems to know about it just due to the lack of marketing. But this one here, the T4, is a brand new one that Wuben have released. It's a miniature tactical light, like I was mentioning, and it does have some unique features that I've never seen combined together in any tactical light before. So let's have a look at what's included. And this is basically the sample version of the T4. Now the real version that's going to come out later will look very similar to this, pretty much identical, but they're going to make some tweaks, bits and pieces, just based on user feedback and feedback from reviewers like myself. So this one obviously includes the light. You get an 18350 cell in there. So it's a Wuben branded 18350 cell, 1100 milliamp hour cell. Another thing that you get included is this tactical ring, and it just goes underneath, just behind the back of the flashlight, behind the clip there, and you basically just screw in the tail cap. And the cool thing about this tactical ring is that it's got the actual little glass breaking bead or section here at the back, right at on the actual tail, right on the actual ring itself, rather than on the front of the flashlight that you see on some of those tactical models. Okay, you do get a little pocket clip, so you don't actually have to use it with the tactical ring if you don't want. You know, I think for most purposes when I'm carrying it around, I'm probably not gonna carry around that tactical ring. I did notice as well that you can actually get some pliers there and unscrew this sharp point there if you don't want that to attract any attention. To attach it, you basically just find where that indentation is there, hook it onto the clip like that, and just screw the tail cap on, which then keeps it nice and firm. So here are a bunch of other flashlights that I have just to show you a bit of a size comparison. I've got the T4 here to the left, a couple of Wuben's X series flashlights, the X0, and we've got the X2 here as well. Down here, we've got the Convoy S8 and the Phoenix PD35R. So yeah, compared to an 18650 tactical flashlight, you know, it's about, I wouldn't say it's half the size, it's getting almost to about 3/4 of the size there. Here's a little close-up of the T4, just up close and personal. And definitely, I mean, for a tactical flashlight, there definitely seems to be a lot going on with the design. And, you know, you firstly got that diameter of the head. It's definitely larger, wider than the body. There's a blue clip here on the battery tube, which I sort of showed you a bit before. It's got a very glossy blue finish there on the outside. Don't think it's anodized. It's just a sort of glossy finish. Also noticed a bit of light knurling here on the battery tube. Wouldn't even almost call it knurling. It's just the design of the tube. But all across the body, you can see there's tiny cutouts and interesting shapes. Definitely a lot going on in terms of the design. I think they've taken a page out of their X series with all those angular cutouts. I quite like the design, actually. And I think all these little cutouts actually work quite well to just make it look more unique. This ring underneath the head here actually unscrews. And would you believe there is a USB-C charging port under there? Well, this tactical ring here on the back just clips on, connects onto this clip there on the side so that it doesn't move around, and secured by that tail cap behind it. Anodizing is slightly glossy and also a bit slippery. It reminds me of the same stuff that they use on their C2 and C3 flashlights. So here's a close-up of the tail cap and the tail switch. Again, with these nice cutouts here that just catch the light and make it look more interesting and unique. And it's not just the looks that I'm impressed with. There's also quite an interesting function with this tail cap. Now, when I tried to sort of move it around initially, because there's a mode selector on the back, I thought there was something broken with the light because it just wouldn't move around. But how you actually change the modes is you have to pull it up a little bit. Okay, just pull it up and then you can rotate it around. So it kind of acts as a locking system. So you can lock the flashlight out. Okay, so it doesn't work like that. Okay, but then when you shift it on to all these other modes, you can actually access it and then it locks in place. So quite an interesting, actually useful feature, because I do find through some of these lights with these rotating end switches, you know, they can move around accidentally and activate, you know, one of the other modes. The tail switch is a dual stage switch. And I'll go more into that later. But interestingly, it's completely flat on the end. So it allows you to tail stand a flashlight while still being able to have this protruding switch there, which I know some people really like. Just make sure that you can actually access that switch a lot more easily. Some of the switches are recessed, or there's these two kind of lips that go up, and then you know, they might get in the way from the switch. So you kind of have best of both worlds here. I think that just that small detail solves that problem. So looking down the bezel here, you can see the LED in there, and that is, to me anyway, appears to be an Osram W2 or CSL PM1 TG. So that rectangular die in there paired with a smooth reflector and glass lens. I do like that there's some crenulation and this nice blue retaining ring as well. Just adds a little accent, makes it look more interesting. All right, so I'm going to go through the UI, just show you how it's used. So at the moment, I've got the thing in lock mode. Okay, there's 3 modes that you just can sort of rotate. You've got to pull the switch at the back and then rotate it so that it rotates freely. Okay, the first point is the lock mode, so nothing happens. Middle mode here is duty mode. So you press once, okay, to turn on to high, and then half press to go from medium to low. But it always starts off in high, okay, when you turn it on. But yeah, no memory mode as well. So this last mode here is tactical mode. So half press, access to high, and full press then turns into strobe. Alrighty, so I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests, and this is the first one on high. And you can see here, as soon as you turn on the light on high, the T4 on high, it just starts to step down pretty much immediately. You know, by that 1 minute mark, you're about 60% output, okay? And you can see here, ran the test all the way to 25 minutes. There was, you know, little decreases in brightness, but it was still at around about the 55 to 60% output range past 25 minutes. Also ran a second ceiling bounce test on the medium mode, and it pretty much retains its overall brightness between 95 to 100% for the 25-minute test. Here are some measurements I also took on my Opal Light Master Pro, and on the high mode, I was really impressed to see, these are switch on values by the way, but I got 394 meters of throw, which is so impressive for an 18350 flashlight like this. CRI range from 69 to 70, which is pretty standard for this kind of LED design for visibility. CCT range from 5,784 up to about 6,400, so definitely on the cooler end. The T4 produces an intensely focused hotspot thanks to this Osram W2. It's got a decent sized hotspot as well. It's definitely not as large as if you'd used an SFT 40 or something in there, but you know, I do like the Osram W2. It's one of my favorite LEDs because it produces tons of throw, but still some usable spill. So some considerations that you might want to be aware of. Now the T4, you know, it has this blue clip here. I would have preferred if they used something more conservative, just, you know, just a normal black clip. I know they're wanting to match it with the bezel, that inner bezel design there, and it's also to their brand color, but I just like something that's just, you know, less glossy and showy, I suppose. You've also, I think they could have just used a higher tensile steel, and it works fine, but I'm just used to having tactical lights that have a bit more, just have less give in that bit of metal there. As you saw in the ceiling bounce test as well, there was quite a fast step down on high, and I really think Wuben could have pushed the W2 in there a bit more, just given that the heat sinking is pretty good due to this chunky head. So yeah, something to be aware of. I found at times that I wish that this was an 18650 light, and one of the solutions I suppose Wuben could include is a extension tube of some sort. So, even if they included one separately that you could purchase. I tried to put on the extension tube from my Wuben E7. Didn't work. It was just a little bit too long. But yeah, that's a suggestion for Wuben. And also, for those of you who like carrying around primaries or operating their flashlights with primaries, it does not work with 16340 or CR123 primaries. Overall, the Wuben T4 is a feature-packed mini tactical flashlight. I think Wuben have put in a lot of thought into this light. They've taken the best of different types of tactical lights. I think they've probably been watching what's been out there and, trying to make something more unique and tailored towards people's feedback. I think the Wuben T4 would be a great option for beginners or enthusiasts looking for a unique looking and pocketable tactical light. If you're interested in getting one of these, go ahead and check the video description. I've got a special discount link there. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, do me a big favor and click the like button. It helps me to get my videos promoted. And if you want to see more flashlight reviews, keep up to date with the latest news, make sure you subscribe. Okay, I've got the Wuben T4 and this is on the high mode. Okay, and as you can see, that is a very impressive throwy beam. See all the way into the back of those trees. Step it down to medium here. Even medium manages to reach the center of that field and the back of that golf course very well. Okay, low mode, yeah, it's not too impressive really. Maybe for really up close and personal use. But look at that. That is some decent throw, I have to say. For a little tactical light like this, I've got it on duty mode at the moment. If I just put it onto the normal tack mode, okay, can access like momentary tack high like that, and then there's the strobe. Okay, I'll go for a little walk so you can see the beam profile. Okay, there's not really, look, the spill isn't super bright, but it is certainly usable. Certainly usable up ahead. It's probably from where I'm standing another 9 or 10 feet ahead of me. Okay, so I'll go for a bit of a walk. Workhorse T4, and this is on the high mode, reaches all the way down the end of that path quite easily. Medium mode, still decent, but yeah, just significantly less spill. And on the low mode, you really can't even see this at all except up close. But yeah, high mode, look at that.